Glass shattered, her reflection remained intact, now free from the mirror's confines, standing before her with glowing eyes and a twisted smile, waiting. As night fell, a town was shrouded in silence. Sarah, a photographer, followed a mysterious shadow into an alley. A figure emerged, a man cloaked in shadows. "Beware the eternal darkness," he hissed before vanishing. Sarah discovered shadowy figures in her photos, their eyes filled with malice. Seeking help from a psychic, she learned the figures were lost souls seeking revenge. Armed with a camera, she ventured into the realm of eternal shadows. As the spirits closed in, she captured their essence, setting them free. But as the last shadow dissipated, the man from the alley appeared, thanking her before fading into the night. Sarah returned home, forever changed by her encounter with the eternal shadows, knowing some secrets were best left undisturbed. As the mist rolled in, shrouding the old cabin, Sam felt a chill crawl down his spine. Alone in the wilderness, he heard faint whispers on the wind. Ignoring them, he stoked the fire, trying to shake off the unease. But the whispers grew louder, weaving around him like ghostly tendrils. Shadows danced in the corners, and a figure emerged from the mist, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. Frozen in terror, Sam realized the whispers were calling his name. With a sudden, bone-chilling realization, he understood. The mist was a veil between the living and the dead, and he was not alone. As dusk painted the sky in shadowy hues, Rachel ventured into the secluded woods. A thick mist cloaked the ancient trees, whispering of forgotten tales. A distant rustling quickened her pulse. Ignoring her unease, she pressed on. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the fog, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. Frozen with fear, Rachel realized too late the forest's sinister secret, the lost souls of those who dared enter. As the specters closed in, their chilling whispers surrounded her, echoing for eternity. Alone in her creaky old house, Emma sensed a presence lurking in the shadows. Each night, the darkness seemed to thicken, suffocating her with dread. Whispers echoed in the corridors, chilling her to the core. One stormy night, a figure materialized from the shadows, a twisted, contorted silhouette. Frozen in terror, Emma watched as it crept closer, its hollow eyes fixed on her. With a sudden gust of wind, the shadows enveloped her, consuming her entirely. The next morning, neighbors found the house empty, with no trace of Emma. Only a faint whisper in the wind carried her name, a haunting reminder of the sinister shadows that devoured her soul. In the old house atop the hill, Sarah heard whispers at midnight, soft, melodic voices beckoning her to the basement. Ignoring fear, she descended each night. Her husband noticed her change, eyes distant, voice cold. One moonlit evening he followed. To his horror, he saw Sarah kneeling before shadowy figures, chanting ancient words. The figures turned, piercing him with glowing eyes. Sarah smiled, revealing elongated teeth. He fled, but the house echoed with unearthly laughter, knowing he'd never escape the whispering shadows. In the town of Willow Creek, a dense fog descended, cloaking everything in a mysterious haze. Mia, a curious photographer, ventured out to capture the scene. As she snapped pictures, faint whispers echoed around her. Dismissing them as her imagination, Mia continued until the whispers grew louder, forming sinister words. Panic rising, she hurried back, but the fog thickened, swallowing her surroundings. Lost and disoriented, Mia stumbled upon an old cabin, its door creaking open invitingly. Inside, shadows danced menacingly, and the whispers coalesced into a chilling chant. Realization struck. The fog was a gateway to a realm of trapped souls. As Mia tried to flee, icy fingers grabbed her, pulling her into the mist. The fog dissipated, leaving the town in an eerie silence. Days later, a new photographer arrived, drawn by the legends of Willow Creek. Among Mia's abandoned photos, one stood out, a haunting image of a mist-shrouded cabin with a faint figure beckoning from within. Amelia heard whispers in the dark, faint at first, then growing louder each night. Her old house echoed with unseen voices, their words unintelligible yet filled with malice. Ignoring them became impossible as they followed her, haunting every room. One midnight, their message became clear. "Join us." Terrified, she sought refuge in the attic, only to find an ancient journal. Its pages revealed the house's dark past, a pact made with a malevolent spirit. As the whispers closed in, she understood the price of staying, becoming one of them, forever lost in the shadows. In the dense forest, an old cabin stood, its paint peeling like dead skin. Emma, a writer seeking solitude, arrived. Every night, whispers drifted through the pines, a haunting melody. One dusk, she followed, finding a hidden cellar. Inside, dusty jars lined shelves, each containing a heart. Horrified, Emma heard a voice behind her. "You found my collection." She spun, facing a specter, eyes filled with malice. "Join them," it hissed. The whispers grew louder as shadows encroached, sealing her fate in the heart-filled cellar forevermore. As the moon cast an eerie glow over the neglected park, Ava's footsteps echoed through the empty pathways. A faint whisper, almost indistinguishable, caught her attention. Ignoring it, she quickened her pace. But the whispers persisted, growing louder with each step. Panic gripped her as she realized the voices spoke her name. Heart pounding, she ran. The once familiar park now twisted into a maze of darkness. Turning a corner, she faced a mirror. Her reflection grinned, lips not moving, voice chillingly familiar. "Welcome home, Ava," it whispered, before dragging her into the shadows, her screams swallowed by the night. In a secluded village nestled amidst towering pines, eerie whispers drift through the mist-laden streets at night. Locals speak in hushed tones of a forbidden grove where no sunlight dares to penetrate. One moonless night, a traveler lost his way and stumbled upon the village. Welcomed with forced smiles, he noticed the villagers' sunken eyes and whispered conversations. As the clock struck midnight, he witnessed a procession towards the grove. In the heart of the shadowed clearing, a ghastly ritual unfolded. Figures cloaked in darkness danced around a flickering bonfire, chanting ancient words. As terror gripped the traveler, he realized the ghastly truth. An offering was needed to appease the lurking shadows. Frozen in fear, he saw them approaching with outstretched arms. With a final scream echoing into the night, the grove fell silent, shrouded in a veil of dread. The next morning, the village appeared deserted, with no trace of the traveler. Only a rusted locket glinted in the pale sunlight, engraved with the words, "Shadowed Sacrifice." The old house on Willow Street, abandoned for decades, loomed ominously in the moonless night. Urban explorer Sarah ventured inside, her flashlight piercing the darkness. Whispers surrounded her, urging her deeper. In a decrepit living room, a mirror revealed a spectral figure. Panic gripped her as the voice from the mirror beckoned. "Join us." Fleeing, she stumbled upon a hidden chamber filled with twisted faces, including her own. The whispers grew louder, tormenting her mind. Trapped, Sarah's screams echoed through the house, merging with the haunting chorus. The next morning, the house stood silent, concealing its chilling secrets. Amelia woke to whispers weaving through the house, cold tendrils of fear gripping her. The clock read 3:33 a.m. Heart-pounding, she followed the voice to the basement door, swaying slightly ajar. Descending, the air turned icy. In the dim light, figures danced at the edge of sight. A voice echoed, "Join us." Panicked, she fled upstairs, but the whispers pursued. Alone in her room, a mirror reflected a shadow behind her. Terror gripped her as the voice whispered, "Now, you're one of us." In the heart of a dense forest, a small town stood surrounded by gnarled trees. Every full moon, eerie howls echoed through the night, chilling the residents. No one dared venture into the woods after dark. One moonlit night, a young girl, Lily, lost her way while picking wildflowers. Panic set in as she heard rustling behind her. She quickened her pace, but the sounds mimicked her movements. Tears welled in her eyes as she stumbled upon a clearing. In the dim moonlight, she saw figures converging around her, their silhouettes elongated and menacing. Frozen in fear, Lily realized she had entered the territory of shape-shifting creatures that preyed on lost souls. Their whispered promises of eternal companionship turned into menacing growls. As the creatures closed in, Lily's scream pierced the night. The townsfolk woke to find her torn dress, but she was never seen again. The next full moon, a new set of howls joined the chorus, a haunting reminder of the forest's moonlit menace. In a quaint antique shop, Emma found an ornate mirror, its glass pristine. Hanging it in her room, she noticed strange distortions in her reflection. Each night, the mirror showed shadows creeping closer, elongated fingers almost touching hers. Terrified, she tried to cover it but failed. One moonlit night, the mirror reflected a different room, a dark, empty space. Emma felt a cold breath on her neck, yet no one was there. Desperate, she smashed it, releasing a haunting wail. As the shards fell, her reflection grinned, mouthing, "Now we're free." As Emily gazed into the antique mirror, her reflection began to distort, contorting into a sinister grin. Panic gripped her as the room darkened around her, shadows creeping closer. She tried to look away, but an unseen force held her gaze. Suddenly, her reflection reached out, fingertips pressing against the glass. A whispered voice echoed, "Join me." With a shudder, Emily felt a cold hand grasp hers from within the mirror, pulling her closer. In an instant, she was yanked through, disappearing into the dark realm beyond. In the quaint town of Willow Creek, a young woman named Lily moved into a charming old house. Every night, she heard soft whispers echoing through the halls. At first, she dismissed them as the house settling, but as days passed, the whispers grew clearer. They spoke of ancient secrets and forbidden knowledge. One moonlit night, Lily followed the whispers to the basement. There, she discovered a hidden room covered in cryptic symbols. In the center, an old mirror reflected a figure standing behind her. With dread, she turned around but found nothing there. As she gazed back at the mirror, her reflection smirked menacingly, whispering, "You'll never leave." Terrified, Lily tried to flee but found herself trapped in the mirror's grasp, joining the whispers in the night forevermore. The old house stood silent, shrouded in darkness, its windows like empty eyes. Sarah, a curious soul, ventured inside, drawn by whispers that echoed through the halls. As she explored, the whispers grew louder, filled with anguish and longing. Panic gripped her heart when she realized the voices were coming from the walls themselves. Desperate to flee, she raced to the door, only to find it sealed shut. The walls began to pulsate, the voices merging into a unified wail. In terror, Sarah pounded on the walls, pleading for release. Suddenly, the whispers stopped. Silence enveloped her. Then a voice whispered in her ear, "You should have listened." The walls around her started closing in, trapping her within their grasp. Sarah's screams pierced the air, but no one would ever hear her again. As twilight descended, Emma ventured into the dense woods near her home, lured by an inexplicable whispering that beckoned her. The leaves rustled ominously, and shadows danced in the fading light. Panic gripped her, but an unseen force urged her deeper. Following the haunting murmur, she stumbled upon a decrepit cabin. Inside, a mirror reflected a ghastly figure standing behind her. Frozen in terror, she turned but found nothing. As she fled, the whispers grew deafening until, at the forest's edge, silence fell. Looking back, Emma saw her own reflection in the cabin's window, but the figure in the mirror mimicked her movements. She realized with dread, she was trapped in the mirror's world, destined to lure others into the whispering forest's eternal torment. In an old mansion, Emma discovered a peculiar painting locked in the attic. The portrait depicted a figure with hollow eyes that seemed to follow her. Ignoring its unnerving gaze, she hung it in the living room. That night, whispers filled the house. Each day the painting changed, the figure's expression growing malevolent. Emma's fear mounted. One stormy night, lightning revealed the painting's truth. The figure moved, stepping out of the frame. Emma fled, but the figure chased her with outstretched arms, its eyes hungry for her soul. As Emma reached the basement, a horrifying realization struck. The figure in the painting was her reflection, twisted and evil. In a quaint antique shop, Sarah discovered a beautiful music box. Intrigued, she wound it up, and a haunting melody filled the room. The shopkeeper's smile turned sinister as Sarah felt a cold presence looming. She tried to stop the music, but the notes grew louder, echoing through her mind. Panic set in as the tune warped into screams. Suddenly, the music ceased, and the shop was empty. Sarah, trembling, saw a reflection in the glass, a ghostly figure behind her, its eyes filled with malice. The cursed music box had claimed another victim. As the full moon cast an eerie glow, Alex found himself in the town square, facing the ancient statue locals whispered about. Legends warned of its curse. Whoever heard it speak would meet a grim fate. Ignoring the tales, Alex leaned closer, straining to catch any sound. Suddenly, a faint whisper filled the air, chilling his bones. "Beware the night," it hissed. Heart-pounding, Alex stumbled back, but the voice followed. Panic set in as the whispers grew louder, urging him towards the shadows. In a desperate sprint, Alex fled the square, the voice fading as dawn approached. Yet each night, the whispers returned, a haunting reminder of the statue's dark power. As the clock struck midnight, Sarah heard faint whispers echoing through her darkened room. She dismissed them as her imagination until they grew clearer, sinister. Trembling, she lit a candle, casting flickering shadows on the walls. The whispers intensified, forming eerie words. "Join us in the darkness," they hissed. Frozen with terror, she realized the shadows were alive, beckoning her to an unknown realm. In a desperate attempt, she switched on the lights, dispelling the shadows and the haunting whispers. Silence engulfed the room, but Sarah could still feel the chilling presence lingering, a reminder of the sinister realm that nearly claimed her soul. As the moon hung low in a sky painted with shadows, Mary ventured into the dimly lit cellar, shrouded in a silence so profound it chilled her bones. The air grew thick as she descended, the wooden steps creaking beneath her hesitant tread. Suddenly a faint whisper danced through the darkness, barely more than a breath but laden with malice. Ignoring the urge to flee, Mary pressed on until she reached a small cobwebbed alcove. There she found an old, dusty mirror reflecting a figure standing behind her, its eyes gleaming with a hunger that froze her soul. With trembling hands, Mary turned to confront the empty darkness, realizing the chilling truth. The whispers weren't echoes of the past, but warnings of a malevolent presence that had been lurking in the shadows, waiting for her to join its haunted realm. Amelia awoke to a dense mist engulfing her room, a whispering wind sending shivers down her spine. The antique mirror near her bed reflected a silhouette she didn't recognize. Frozen in fear, she noticed a figure whispering unintelligibly. As she blinked, the shadow vanished. Uneasy, she tried to dismiss it. Night after night, the whispers returned, growing clearer. One dusk, she deciphered, "Join us." The mirror shattered, revealing shadowy hands reaching out. Terrified, Amelia fled, but the whispers pursued, echoing, "You belong with us now." The mist thickened, engulfing her. In the town of Willow Creek, the Whitaker family held a dark legacy. As dusk fell, whispers emerged from their old manor. Locals spoke of a curse that haunted the grounds. One night, Amelia ventured into the garden, drawn by the whispers. She uncovered a hidden crypt, revealing a portrait of a woman with hollow eyes. A voice hissed, "You've awakened the guardian." Panic gripped Amelia as spectral hands reached out. The guardian spoke of a blood pact, linking the curse to the family's ancestors. Amelia fled, but the whispers persisted. Days later, a new grave appeared in the garden, marked with her name. The whispers ceased, but a chilling wind carried her voice. "Break the curse." The manor stood silent, guarding its dark secret, as Amelia's fate became entwined with the curse. In a dusty antique shop, a mysterious shadow seemed to follow whoever possessed a peculiar mirror. Claire, an unsuspecting buyer, brought it home. That night, whispers echoed in the dark, and the shadow materialized, engulfing her room. Terrified, she smashed the mirror, hoping to end the nightmare. Yet the shadow grew darker, forming an eerie figure. As it reached out, Claire's reflection twisted into a haunting grin, trapping her in a sinister mirror world forever. In the old, creaking house at the end of Willow Street, whispers lingered in the shadows. Mary, the new tenant, dismissed them as her imagination. One moonless night, the whispers grew louder, calling her name. Terrified, Mary followed the voice to the basement's sealed door. With trembling hands, she turned the rusted knob, unleashing a darkness that engulfed her. The next morning, a new plaque appeared on the door, "Beware of the silence." From then on, the house remained eerily quiet, a silent sentinel of terror. The old house stood silent, shrouded in darkness. Sarah, a skeptic of the supernatural, moved in. Strange whispers filled the night, chilling her bones. Ignoring them, she tried to sleep. One night, the whispers grew louder, forming words. "Leave this place," they hissed. Sarah, unnerved, searched for the source. In the attic, she found a cryptic diary. Its pages detailed a pact made in blood within the house. Suddenly, a cold hand touched her shoulder. Turning, she saw a ghastly figure, the pact's victim. "Join us," it moaned, as Sarah realized her fate was sealed. As the moon cast an eerie glow over the silent waters, the crew of the fishing boat Mistral felt unease creep into their bones. Whispers, soft at first, then insistent, filled the night air, promising doom. The captain, a weathered soul named Jonah, knew the tales of the cursed waters they sailed upon. Ignoring warnings, they cast their nets. Suddenly, a thick mist enveloped them, hiding the stars. Shapes moved beneath the surface, distorted and ghastly. With growing horror, they realized they were surrounded by the lost souls of a ship long sunken. Desperation turned to terror as skeletal hands reached for them, dragging the Mistral down. Jonah's voice, now joining the haunting chorus, whispered of the crew's fate. As the last breath escaped him, the whispers subsided, the waters still once more. The mistral vanished without a trace, leaving behind a chilling legend of a ghostly ship doomed to claim all who dare cross its path. As night descended, a lonely road led Sarah deep into the whispering woods. The dense trees seemed to murmur secrets, their branches looming like ghostly fingers. Ignoring the unease crawling up her spine, she pressed on. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a spectral woman in a tattered gown. Her hollow eyes fixated on Sarah, whispering a name lost to time. Frozen in terror, Sarah realized the woman mirrored her reflection. With each step backward, the doppelganger advanced until they stood face to face. Sarah's scream pierced the night as skeletal hands reached out, merging their beings in a chilling embrace. Dawn broke on the road, now empty, save for a single mirror reflecting the whispering woods' sinister legacy. In a dusty antique shop, Mia discovered an old portrait hidden behind a tattered curtain. The painting depicted a mysterious figure with eyes that seemed to follow her every move. Ignoring the unease creeping up her spine, Mia purchased the portrait and hung it in her bedroom. That night, she awoke to faint whispers in the darkness, coming from the painting. As she approached, the figure's expression twisted into a malicious grin. Terrified, Mia tried to remove the portrait but found it inexplicably stuck to the wall. With a sudden gust of wind, the room plunged into icy silence. The figure stepped out of the painting, its cold hand reaching for Mia's trembling form. The next morning, all that remained was a blank canvas, except for a chilling message etched faintly in the corner: "You've been chosen." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah stumbled upon an old music box in the attic of her new home. Dusty and forgotten, its delicate notes played a haunting melody that echoed through the empty rooms. Intrigued, she wound the key, releasing a tune that sent shivers down her spine. Night after night, the music box played on its own, its melody growing more sinister with each passing hour. Sarah's nights became sleepless as the eerie tune filled her dreams. One moonlit night, following the music's lead, she discovered a hidden compartment. Inside lay a faded photograph of a family, their eyes hollow and faces twisted in sorrow. Terrified, Sarah realized the truth. The music box held captive souls, feeding off their despair to play its haunting melody. In a moment of dread, she understood that by winding the key, she unwittingly became a part of its sinister cycle. As the cursed melody grew louder, Sarah's fate intertwined with the sorrowful spirits, doomed to echo through the house for eternity. In the old Ravenwood manor, whispers of a curse stirred the air. Amelia, the new maid, felt an icy presence trailing her every move. One moonlit night, as she polished the antique mirror, a ghastly reflection appeared behind her, a woman in tattered lace mouthing silent words. Terrified, Amelia fled, but the whispers followed. Desperate, she sought the housekeeper's counsel. With trembling hands, the housekeeper revealed the sinister truth. A former maid, cursed for betraying her mistress, forever trapped within the mirror's depths. Horrified, Amelia realized the curse sought a new vessel. The next morning, the antique mirror stood empty, reflecting only darkness and a chilling message etched faintly: "Welcome home, Amelia." Deep within the dense forest, a lone hiker named Sarah found herself enveloped in an unsettling darkness. As night fell, whispers, soft and indistinct, began to echo around her. Ignoring them, she pressed on. Each step grew heavier as the voices multiplied, their words now clear but incomprehensible. Panic set in. Sarah quickened her pace, yet the whispers followed relentlessly. Abruptly, the forest opened into a small clearing bathed in an eerie glow. There, standing under a gnarled tree, was a spectral figure mouthing silent words. Frozen with fear, Sarah watched as the ghostly entity raised a finger, pointing past her. Turning, she saw a gravestone, her name engraved on it. The whispers turned into chilling laughter, and the figure vanished. With trembling hands, Sarah fled, the forest's shadows seeming to reach out for her. The following morning, her lifeless body was discovered in the clearing, next to the very gravestone she had seen. The whispers lingered, a haunting reminder of the supernatural forces that had sealed her fate. Amelia found an old porcelain doll in the attic. Its eyes, a deep shade of black, seemed to follow her every move. Ignoring her unease, she placed it on the shelf in her room. That night, she awoke to soft whispers and tiny footsteps. The doll was at the foot of her bed, its eyes gleaming in the moonlight. Terrified, she hid under her covers, heart pounding. Suddenly, the whispers ceased. Slowly peeking out, she saw the doll perched on a chair, holding a tiny knife. Paralyzed with fear, she watched as it whispered, "You forgot about me, Amelia." The next morning, her parents found her room empty, the doll sitting on the shelf, its eyes devoid of life. In the dead of night, a lonely figure walked through an old, creaking house. The flickering candle in his hand cast eerie shadows, illuminating his grim determination. Upstairs, a young woman lay fast asleep, unaware of the danger looming. Suddenly, a soft whisper echoed through the hallway, chilling the air. The figure froze, a sinister smile playing on his lips. Slowly, he approached the bedroom door, his shadow stretching ominously. As he reached out a hand, a bone-chilling voice hissed, "I've been waiting for you." The woman's eyes shot open to see a faceless silhouette hovering above her, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. With a gasp, she jolted upright, but the room plunged into darkness. When the lights flickered back on, the room was empty. Only a faint whisper lingered in the air, "I'll return when the night falls again." As the clock struck midnight, Sarah found herself alone in the abandoned mansion. A faint whisper beckoned from the shadows, drawing her deeper into the eerie hallway. The air turned icy, the walls pulsating with an otherworldly energy. Panic gripped her as she realized the house was alive. Racing to escape, a door materialized where none existed before. With trembling hands, she pushed it open to find a room bathed in an ethereal glow. In the center, a figure cloaked in darkness chanted an ancient incantation. Frozen with terror, Sarah watched as the figure turned towards her with eyes that held a deep, malevolent hunger. The ritual had begun. Desperate, she fled into the labyrinthine corridors, each turn leading back to the chanting figure. Finally cornered, she closed her eyes, bracing for the end. Silence fell. Opening her eyes, she stood in the mansion's entrance, moonlight streaming through broken windows. Had it all been a nightmare? Then a whisper echoed, "You can never leave." The mansion loomed behind her, eternally waiting for its next victim. Emily moved into an old house to start anew. One night, she heard faint whispers coming from the attic. Curiosity gripped her, urging her to investigate. As she climbed the creaky stairs, the voices grew clearer, whispering her name with an eerie familiarity. In the dim attic, she found an antique mirror covered in a veil of dust. Her reflection morphed, eyes darkening, a sinister smile forming. Terrified, she tried to flee, but the door slammed shut. The whispers turned menacing as Emily realized the chilling truth. The mirror held trapped souls, craving a new host. The reflection reached out, pulling her in with a bone-chilling laugh. In the quaint village of Willow Creek, shadows danced eerily as night fell. Emily, a timid librarian, lived alone in her creaky cottage. One stormy evening, strange whispers echoed through the woods, unnerving her. Ignoring them, she buried herself in a book. Suddenly, a cold gust extinguished her candle. Panic rising, Emily glimpsed ghostly figures outside. Racing to lock the door, she froze as a voice behind her hissed, "You should have listened." The room plunged into darkness. In an antique store, Emily found a peculiar mirror. Its ornate frame whispered of forgotten elegance. At night, a faint glow emanated from its surface, drawing her. Each reflection seemed slightly off, a distorted version of reality. Mesmerized, she touched the glass. Coldness seeped into her fingertips. Then her reflection moved independently, a sinister smile curling its lips. Horror gripped Emily as she stumbled back. The mirror's depths revealed a shadowy figure, a phantom beckoning her. With a gasp, she realized the truth. The mirror didn't reflect her, but the malevolent spirit within. Frantic, she tried to flee, yet everywhere she turned, the phantom awaited. Trapped in a nightmare, Emily's screams echoed in the empty store, unheard by waking world. As dawn broke, the antique store stood silent, the mirror now holding a new, tormented reflection, a warning to those who dare gaze into its depths. In the dim-lit corner of an antique store, a peculiar doll caught Sarah's eye. Its glassy eyes seemed to follow her every move. Ignoring her unease, she purchased it. That night, whispers echoed through her home, chilling her to the core. Sarah awoke to find the doll beside her bed, its tiny hand gripping a knife. Panic set in as she realized the whispers were commands. With trembling hands, she smashed the doll. Silence fell, but the whispers lingered, now emanating from the shattered remains. In a small town, a neglected cemetery sprawled with ancient tombstones stands hidden amidst overgrown trees. Curiosity led Mia, a young photographer, to explore this forgotten place. As she snapped pictures, whispering voices surrounded her. recounting tragic tales of lost souls seeking peace. Ignoring the warnings, Mia delved deeper, drawn by a mysterious pull. Suddenly, a cold hand gripped hers, and a spectral figure materialized before her. The ghostly apparition implored her to share its story with the world. Terrified but determined, Mia captured each chilling detail. As the last photo developed, the spirit vanished, leaving Mia shaken but enlightened. She realized the spirit sought acknowledgement, not fear. From that day on, Mia shared their stories, ensuring the forgotten souls found solace in being remembered. Amanda, a nature enthusiast, ventured alone into the dense woods. The air turned icy, the trees whispered cryptic warnings. Ignoring the unease, she stumbled upon an ancient cabin. Inside, faded photographs lined the walls, faces twisted in agony. A sudden chill gripped her. Shadows danced menacingly. As she tried to flee, a whisper echoed, "Leave or join us." Terrified, she ran, the voice pursuing. Bursting free, she found herself back at the entrance. The truth struck. The woods trapped lost souls. Amanda's fate now intertwined with the whispering darkness. In an antique shop, Sarah discovered a striking mirror with an ornate frame. Mesmerized, she bought it despite the shopkeeper's warnings. That night, a subtle tapping sound emerged from the mirror as Sarah prepared for bed. Ignoring it, she slept fitfully. The next morning, dark circles weighed down her eyes, and a faint reflection of a figure lingered in the glass. Days passed. Sarah's reflection started moving independently, mirroring her actions with a chilling delay. One night, Sarah saw her reflection smile ominously before reaching out of the mirror. Terrified, she grabbed a cloth and covered it, but muffled laughter echoed through the room. Gritting her teeth, she unveiled the mirror to find her reflection missing, only the darkness behind. From that day on, Sarah's reflection never appeared again, but every night, faint tapping sounds echoed from within the mirror, a haunting reminder of what lurked just beyond the glass. Amidst the abandoned asylum's decaying walls, Sarah felt an eerie presence. Ignoring her instincts, she ventured deeper. The flickering lights cast dancing shadows, whispering sinister secrets. A cold wind howled as Sarah stumbled upon a forgotten room. Inside, a mirror reflected her trembling form, surrounded by darkness. Suddenly, the shadows lunged, enveloping her. Gasping, Sarah tried to flee, but icy tendrils held her captive. In a chilling realization, she saw her own eyes glint within the darkness. The shadows hungered for more than her presence. They craved her soul. In a quaint town, renowned pianist Grace discovered an old music sheet tucked inside her piano bench. The notes were hauntingly beautiful, yet unfamiliar. Ignoring a sense of unease, she began to play. As her fingers danced over the keys, a subtle chill filled the room. Each night, the melody beckoned her, growing louder and more insistent. Grace's once brilliant performances turned eerie, as if a dark presence guided her hands. Desperate, she sought the sheet's origin. An elderly neighbor revealed a grim secret. The music was composed by a long-lost musician